Charitable giving is our topic of conversation today. We'll be learning a little bit about the Bluff Medical Center Foundation and how you can get started with your charitable giving. My guests will include Martha Kindry, Executive Director of the Bluff Medical Center Foundation, Barb Johnson, Health Promotions Assistant at Bluff Medical Center, Craig Griffiths, Registered Pharmacist, and Teresa Tremaine, Medical Imaging Assistant. That's all coming up right here on Wisconsin Doctors here at Bluff Medical Center, so stick with us. Welcome back to Wisconsin Doctors. We are here at Bluff Medical Center, and you know, it's the end of the year. We find ourselves in the middle of the season of giving. And today we're going to be talking about foundations and being charitable. And I'd like to start today's show by having each of our guests introduce themselves and talk to us a little bit about their involvement in the Bluff Medical Center Foundation. So starting on my left, we have Martha Kindry, then Barb Johnson, Craig Griffiths, and Teresa Tremaine. Welcome everybody to Wisconsin Doctors.
Thank you.
Good to have you with us. Martha Kindry, let's start with you. You are the Executive Director of the Bluff Medical Center Foundation. So talk to us a little bit about your involvement and what the foundation does.
Sure. Well, the foundation is really important to the hospital. We have been established since 2010. I've actually been at the hospital for 17 years now, but the foundation itself is going on its 7th year, which is really wonderful. It's starting to really take off and grow. We really needed the foundation and had talked about it for a long time, and so it was really good to finally get it up and running.
Awesome, awesome. And Barb Johnson, you are the Health Promotions Assistant here?
Yes, I am.
Talk to us a little bit about your involvement in the foundation.
I'm a happy donator to the foundation.
Okay, all right. Do you find that a lot of employees are also donors to the foundation?
Yeah, and you know, that's something that's really important to foundations. It doesn't really matter what foundation you're talking about, but the organization that they are attached to, the fundraising arm for, it's really important that the employees show their support because they show that they're proud and what they're doing is very important to the community, and so it says a lot to other people in the community about why they should support too.
Yeah, actions speaking louder than words.
Exactly.
Obviously.
Yeah.
So, and Craig Griffiths, good to see you again, by the way. And we've seen a lot of you lately here at Bluff on Wisconsin Doctors. You are a registered pharmacist here. Talk to us about your role in the Bluff Medical Center Foundation.
Well, I too am a contributor.
Okay.
And then I serve on the Friends of the Foundation committee, a group of people that come together to support the foundation in various different ways as volunteers. And most recently, I serve on the Planned Giving Committee for the Friends of the Foundation.
So is the Friends of the Foundation, is that a separate organization from the foundation, or is it part of the foundation?
We're a group of volunteers that just provide support. We're not uniquely separate necessarily.
They do more than support. They're absolutely essential to the foundation.
We do what we can to help out. So.
You do what you can. I appreciate the humility. That's great. Teresa Tremaine, you are a medical imaging assistant. Welcome.
Welcome. Thank you.
Talk to us a little bit about your role in the Bluff Medical Center Foundation.
Well, Martha came to me when the foundation started up, asked if I would be an ambassador for the foundation, which was there to help promote the employee giving and donating out of payroll deduction. So we did that. We started off with a yearly chili cook-off or baked potato bar, and then we even did things that would bring the employees together and encourage
that in charitable giving. Yeah. I think it's really nice that you have the payroll deduction thing that you can do, that employees can do, so that they don't even have to worry about, oh, did I write a check, or how much should I write a check for this year? They can just, it's all taken care of for them.
Yep. Yeah. It sure is.
Yes.
Martha, I'm curious to know, have you been executive director for all 7 years of the?
Yes.
Okay, since the inception of the foundation. How exactly does a foundation get started?
Well, a foundation gets started really the way most businesses you would think of, even though it's a nonprofit organization. The hospital is also a nonprofit. But you go through the standard requirements for developing your LLC, your licensure, and things like that. And then it goes through, it's quite a process, and you have to have all of your paperwork and forms in order, just like any other business or organization. And then you, at long last, get that wonderful letter that says you are a 501(c), which means you're a charitable organization and able to take donations and help support.
And everybody jumps up and down.
And everybody goes, thank goodness. Yeah.
That's it.
Well, we got to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to talk about why foundations are so important to institutions like Mile Bluff Medical Center right here in Wisconsin Doctors when we come back. Stick around. Welcome back to Wisconsin Doctors. We're here at Mile Bluff Medical Center in Mauston, and we're in the middle of the season of giving, so what better topic to discuss than giving, charitable giving, specifically to foundations. And so in the last segment we talked a little bit about the Mile Bluff Medical Center Foundation, what each person's role was in that is and continues to be in that foundation. And now we're going to talk a little bit about why it's so important for an organization like Mile Bluff Medical Center to have a foundation. So Martha, I'm going to pose that question to you.
Okay. Well, it really is important. In fact, it's so important that over 80% of medical centers and hospitals have foundations that are their fundraising arms. That's how essential it really is to have a foundation. And the reason for that is that, especially for rural hospitals, you're looking at areas, the demographics in rural areas are usually you have a lot of elderly, you have uninsured, you have underinsured, you have low employment rates, things like that, that all contribute to a need for support in the medical field. We all know that healthcare is expensive and sometimes people can't afford it. And when we have operating budgets, again, another statistic that most people don't realize is that most rural hospitals operate on a 2% margin. That's a pretty narrow small margin to be operating on. And so the costs that come in, things are covering our daily things that happen. So when you look at services for people that can't pay, for services that are kind of above and beyond for new technology, if you have a hospital that needs a capital campaign, which would be building new facilities, electronic medical records, all those kinds of things, they cost a lot of money for the hospital. And so that's where the foundation comes in. We help support above and beyond what operating costs can cover. And all of that is for the comfort and support of the patient and for the community.
Absolutely. It kind of sounds like the foundation is sort of a financial cushion then for an organization like this.
Yeah, some people may go beyond a cushion. There you go. But yeah, it's kind of a safety net, and it's just really important, especially, like I say, in rural communities where these days, it's very sad to see, but a lot of our rural medical centers are going away. And the reason they're going away is because it's hard to stay above the water kind of thing financially. Right. And it's so essential. Otherwise, you have people, you look even our emergency services and whatnot, someone has a heart attack, you have a limited time frame there to get to a hospital. And so if you have to drive to Madison or La Crosse or, I'm talking 60, miles kind of thing. So it's critical for the community to be here. Right,
absolutely. Teresa, you talked a little bit in the last segment about some fundraising efforts that you've done. Chili cook-off, potato bar, I think you had mentioned. What are some of talk to us a little bit about some of those fundraising efforts, and then why it's so important for folks to give their time and money to the foundation.
Well, it's good for the heart. We, as an organization, with the fundraising, we don't just do it for us. We've also helped the Mauston Pumpkin Bash. We've done pancake breakfast and supported them and helping them out, where those funds came back to our foundation as well.
So, I mean, I like how you talk about it being good for the heart, because that's something that we don't really hear a whole lot of people talking about nowadays, and that it's really, there's a whole nother component of the whole person, so to speak, that we really need to address, and we really need to make sure that is healthy, and giving is one way of doing that.
Right, and there's so many organizations out there that, you know, it's not just the checkbook.
Right.
It's getting prizes, donating prizes, and volunteering your
Sure,
time.
sure.
You know, there's a lot of people that help us out, and a lot of our employees help other organizations out
Yeah.
to stay afloat.
Yeah, it's sort of a team effort. Everybody's involved, and everybody. It sounds like you have a really good team of people who are giving generously to the foundation here at Mile Bluff Medical Center, which is awesome.
The community is extremely supportive, and we're so grateful for all the local businesses and individuals that have just been fantastic.
We're going to talk more about that right after the break here on Wisconsin Doctors at Mile Bluff Medical Center, so stick with us. Welcome back to Wisconsin Doctors. We're here at Mile Bluff Medical Center. We've been talking about charitable giving because 'tis the season, and we've been talking specifically about the Mile Bluff Medical Center Foundation. And Teresa, you know, we've been talking about, even between the segments that we've been filming here today, we've been talking about how every little bit helps, and how people often think that, well, I just can't give enough, so I'm not going to give anything at all. But Teresa, you found that that's completely false, and a great example of that is the Hess Memorial Hospital Auxiliary Thrift Shop. Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Oh, sure. That the volunteers there, the ladies, they do an amazing job. They have been in the community for over 50 years, and the donations from the citizens that take stuff for them to sell, nickel here, dime there,
Wow.
have donated over $1 million.
Wow.
You know, and it's amazing.
Wow.
So every little bit does help. You know, nothing's too small.
Literally $1 million in
Yeah.
nickels and dimes.
There you go.
That's incredible.
They
That's
do a
incredible.
great job.
And we talked a little bit at Craig, if everybody in the city of Mauston donated $1 for every pay period, that'd be $122,000 for the whole year. I mean,
Very
that-
close to that.
Yes.
We just kicked around some mathematical
Yeah.
stuff as we were talking about it, but you know, we often hear about the big contributions that people make. Most of us can't do that. You know,
Right.
most of us can't make a $500,000 contribution here,
Right.
or $1 million there. But what we can do is we can give a little bit of what we do have, whether it's $1 or a couple bucks here, a couple bucks there. But you know, if you just look at the population of Mauston, there are 5,000 people roughly in
Right.
Mauston. If there was $1 given for each of those 5,000 people, that's $5,000 every 2 weeks, assuming
Right.
everybody's paid every 2 weeks. So $10,000 a month, and about $120,000 a year.
Wow.
For a community this size, that's an incredible amount of money.
Wow.
And you know, none of us could individually do that, but as a group we can, and
Right.
there's a lot we can do with that money. So it's not the big dollars that you
Right.
give; it's being consistent about giving and making sure you support
Right.
your charity.
Giving anything is better than zero.
Yeah.
Yep,
Yeah, there you go.
absolutely. Now, Martha, you recently participated in Giving Tuesday. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, it's kind of a neat, it's a big kind of a social media blast thing. It's a global day of giving. So people from all over the world participate in this, and it is November 29th
Okay.
every year. And it's kind of, they go along the lines of you have Black Friday, Small Business Saturday, then Cyber Monday. Then after you've bought everything and done all your purchasing, it's time to kind of give back is
Right.
kind of the idea behind it.
Yeah.
And since it is a social media thing, individuals, companies, anybody can participate in it, and they do kind of a neat thing, and they encourage people that when you do give or when you volunteer, whatever you do for Giving Tuesday, that you share it on social media. And people do a lot of what they call, I've never heard this before, but it's an unselfie. Have you heard of an unselfie before? I've
Unselfie.
never heard of an unselfie
I'm
before.
afraid I haven't. I'm sorry.
But unselfie is when you take a picture of yourself showing what you've given.
Okay.
how you've given.
Okay.
So that's an unselfie.
Unselfie.
So it's a really neat kind of a program.
Yeah, I'll have to check that out, and I encourage folks out there to check it out. Giving Tuesday. Barb, I'm going to turn to you for just a moment here. When it comes to choosing where to make your financial contributions, what do you encourage people to consider?
To look at an organization that touches your heart, that you can see helping our community on a daily basis. GuideStar.org is a really good place to get information about financials and also where the funds are dispersed. And I personally donate, one of my donations, areas that I donate to is to the Mile Bluff Foundation, because I am proud to be a Mile Bluff employee. I'm just.
And we're proud too.
I'm honored. I'm truly honored to be an employee here. And
Of course, something that touches your heart. That's
yes, and I really
Means
see
more.
that the good work that Mile Bluff does within the community, the foundation does. I just see how we help our community. So I'm happy to participate.
We're going to talk more about that when we come back from the break here at Mile Bluff Medical Center, so stick with us. We've been talking charitable giving here on Wisconsin Doctors at Mile Bluff Medical Center. And Craig Griffiths, I'm wondering if you can talk to us a little bit about planned giving, what it is, and how would someone go about getting started in that process?
Planned giving is essentially just what it says it is. It's the act of planning out how you're going to contribute to your charity. It can be as simple as a payroll deduction and making a commitment to that deduction on a routine basis, or as significant as estate planning for your future and for the future of the organization. It depends on your particular position and what you're doing, and where you are in life and stuff like that. But certainly whatever charity you are most interested in, approach that charity, whether it's the foundation here at the hospital or an animal shelter, and ask them how to get involved with that plan and what they can do to guide that. Because most of them have some kind of planned giving approach already designed and that they can help you get into the process with. So.
Good to know. Good to know. A good place to get started is with the foundation itself. Martha, I understand that Mile Bluff's foundation has a committee called Nurses Helping Nurses. Can you tell us a little bit about what that is and why it's so important?
Sure. Nurses Helping Nurses is a tuition reimbursement program actually for our nurses. There's been a big push by the the American Association of Nursing to make sure that people that are in that field actually have a bachelor's degree. There are a lot of nurses that have their associates. They'd like to boost them up to the bachelor's degree for patient outcomes and things like that. And the nursing field is progressing so quickly that you got to stay up on top of things all the time. So this allows us to support our nurses as they move forward with their education, and that supports the community and our patients more and more too. And we do different fundraisers. One we're actually having in January, which is a really fun event. It's piano fondue, or dueling piano, as some people call it. And it's just absolutely a really good time. So anybody that's interested in coming, it's a way that you can support a cause and also have a fun time and enjoy yourself. And it's just
It's fun,
really
and
good.
you'll feel good doing it.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
It's fun with a capital F and lowercase f.
Yeah, there you go.
All types of fun. Teresa, what would you say to encourage others who want to make a difference by being charitable?
Well, there's so many things that have taken place here with the donations and being charitable. Easy as a blanket warmer.
Sure.
Something we use a lot in the department I work in. You get chilled sitting in the waiting room.
Sure.
And you can see that on patients. So, just to take a walk down the hall, grab a warm blanket, bring it back, wrap it around their shoulders.
Sure.
Nothing like it,
Yeah.
know.
I've seen you do that in the smiles on these.
Yeah,
It's
and
so
it's like, oh,
Right.
just like going in the grocery store in the freezer section. It's like, oh, it's
Right.
cold,
Right.
So sometimes, they like that. And the nursing home residents, it's
Right.
amazing in the stories.
Yeah.
From just being charitable, just
Yeah.
a little bit here or there.
Right.
And the things that it does for all organizations in the community. You
It
know?
certainly doesn't take much, does it?
No,
really
it
I
doesn't.
think that's the theme of today.
Yep.
Barb, before we finish up, was there anything that you would like to add?
Yes, I have received many benefits through volunteering and giving. One of the greatest gifts of joy I have received was when I started volunteering at Crestview Nursing Home in New Lisbon, and the residents brought me so much joy, and that led to my employment here at Bluff, which I consider quite a blessing. The giving, there's been studies done on decreased depression levels, decreased lowering blood pressure, and I truly, the joy of giving has brought me so much joy, and it's just interesting that paradox, how the giving, how much we receive, and so
Right.
I truly encourage everyone to give, and it's not to give of yourself, your heart.
Right.
Your donations are important, but also just give your time, your voice, just give.
It's good for you.
It does. It does a body good.
Great way to end our show today. Thank you so much. I want to thank everybody on the panel today: Martha Aerith Kindry, Barb Johnson,
you.
Craig Griffiths, and Teresa Tremaine. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining us today on Wisconsin Doctors. From all of us here at Wisconsin's 57 and Mile Bluff Medical Center, we're inviting you to live longer, live better. We'll see you next time.